Hey there, this is Daw In C with Daw In C Codes, and welcome to episode 5 of making a Daw in C#. In this episode, we're going to be getting into playback/listening controls, and this episode is going to include, obviously, play, pause, and stop functionalities. So this episode is going to be a two-parter. This is part 1, and in part 2, we're going to be covering adjusting the position of the audio file through a slider or control or something like that. All right, so here we are in our Windows form solution that we've been working on for the last couple of episodes. So all that I've changed here is I've moved this play button, and I've added a pause button and a stop button, and I have linked them to some event handlers in our main.cs here. And I did that just by dragging in the buttons, resizing them, and double-clicking them, of course. So we already covered playback in episode 2. We're going to be going a little more in-depth into that, including, like I said, pausing and stopping the audio. So we already have this play method, which goes ahead and plays this hard-coded demo file that we have on the desktop here. So we're also going to want to be able to stop this, because currently if you hit play, there's no way of stopping that audio file from playing. So let's go ahead and just create a stop method that will be called, when you click this stop button. All right, let's go ahead and generate this method. And I'm just going to move this down here next to play, or under play. All right, and this is going to be fairly simple code. We're just going to want to access this WaveOut and call stop on it. And again, here we're actually going to need to, since this is a local variable I've created here, my apologies, we're going to need to create that up here, just so we can access it outside of that method. We can just do that. All right, so all we need to do is call waveout.stop, and let's go ahead and test that out. So let's hit record. Record. So as you can see, hitting stop will completely stop the audio from playing, and if you hit play again, it's going to start it from the beginning. All right, now quickly before we move on to pause, we're going to want to go ahead and do some quick housekeeping. So if you remember with record, there is this stop recording event handler where we dispose of the WAV file writer. So we're going to actually want to do something similar and create an event handler for when playback is stopped. So let's go ahead and create that event handler. So we can just do waveout.playback stopped and just hit tab and it should auto-complete. Apparently not. There we go. All right. And that will create that event handler for us here. So let's go ahead and again move this. And I'm just going to quickly again move this down here next to the other event handlers. All right. So when playback is stopped, when is this event handler going to be called? Well, it's going to be called when we hit that stop button. And it's also going to be called if some error occurs, like say you unplug your audio device or something like that, or you reach the end of the audio file, then it will just call this playback stopped event here. So just like we dispose of the WAV file writer, we're actually going to want to dispose of our WaveOut instance. All right, so we've disposed of this WaveOut here, and we're also going to want to dispose of the audio file here. So my apologies, we're again going to need to create this variable up here. All right, and then move back down here. All right, so now we can go ahead and also dispose of the audio file. And let's also actually go ahead and set both of these to null, and you'll see why in a second. So now that we got this housekeeping out of the way, let's move on to the pause button here. So if you've might have guessed, currently this will be impossible to pause this audio file, because every single time that you hit play, it creates a new instance of audio file and a new instance of WaveOut, so it will always start from the beginning of this file. So let's go ahead and actually check if these are null, so that if they've already been set, we won't start the audio file from the beginning and overwrite them. And we should just be able to do if audio file equals null, and we can go ahead and move everything here into here as well. And if you notice this comment that I have, I didn't say anything about that. I just commented out this sample processor that we have here that currently does nothing that we did last episode, so you can just ignore that. All right, so now this shouldn't every time you hit play, if we want it to pause, it shouldn't overwrite these if they already exist. So just to hammer home why this is necessary, if we actually can go ahead and comment this if statement out real quick that checks if they're null. And we go into the file. If you notice, if you press play, so let's hit record. As you can see, it just continues to, it looks like it crashed. It continues to play the file over and over again. So that's why that's necessary. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to pause. So you technically could do your own version of pause by doing waveout.stop and simply having some Boolean if statement check just to not dispose of these, and then it will just stop the playback and resume where it was at. Conveniently, though, there's actually a pause functionality with WaveOut here. So just to keep up with the pattern we've been following, let's create a pause method. And we can move that method down here as well. So in this pause method, we'll just do waveout.pause. And let's go ahead and try that out. So let's hit record. So let's hit record. All right, so as you can see, pause goes ahead and pauses the file, and hitting play will resume it from where it was at. So let's hit record. And if you hit stop, we're actually going to want to fix that that crash that just happened there. So we can just, all right, this code there should fix that. All right. So now, if you hit play, let's hit record. You can pause. Record. And if you hit stop, let's hit record. It will start from the beginning, and whether or not you hit pause won't affect that. And also, we may have to, throw that in there as well to prevent that crash from happening, the null reference exception. All right, that was part 1 of playback/listening controls. Be on the lookout for part 2. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and thank you very much for watching.